Welcome to Ancient Atoms Awakened. I'm honored that you've chosen to join me for this exploration of how to prepare your space for meditation and energy work. As we approach our chakra activation series, creating an optimal environment for practice becomes an essential foundation for your experience. In this journey, we'll discover how ancient wisdom traditions approached sacred space creation, explore practical ways to adapt these principles to your modern living situation, and learn how environment influences energetic practices. By the end, you'll have clear guidance for creating your own sacred space, regardless of your living circumstances. The concept of sacred space, areas specifically designated for spiritual practice, healing, and energy work, appears consistently across ancient civilizations. Archaeological evidence reveals how our ancestors understood the profound relationship between environment and consciousness, creating spaces deliberately designed to support specific states of awareness. In ancient Egypt, around 3000 to 1500 BCE, temples were constructed with precise alignment to celestial bodies and Earth's energy lines. These spaces utilized specific proportions based on sacred geometry, creating environments where subtle energies were naturally amplified. Temple inscriptions describe how initiates would purify these spaces before ceremonies using sound, smoke, and specific invocations. In ancient India, meditation spaces called mandapas were created using principles that enhanced energy flow. These spaces incorporated specific directional alignments, with east-facing practice being particularly valued for morning meditation. Archaeological evidence shows how these spaces were cleansed using specific herbs, mantras, and ritual gestures before practice. The ancient Chinese tradition of Feng Shui, dating back to at least 3000 BCE, developed sophisticated understanding of how space arrangement affects energy flow. Archaeological sites reveal how meditation spaces were positioned to optimize key life force energy through specific placement, relative to natural features, compass directions, and elemental energies. Indigenous cultures worldwide created medicine wheels, sweat lodges, and sacred groves, spaces set apart through specific placement, construction, and preparation. These spaces were understood to serve as interfaces between ordinary and non-ordinary reality, where healing and transformation could occur more readily. What unifies these diverse approaches is the recognition that environment directly influences consciousness and energy flow. These weren't merely symbolic designations, but practical technologies for creating conditions conducive to specific states of awareness and energetic activation. Modern neuroscience now validates this ancient wisdom, revealing how environmental cues trigger specific neurological states through what's called context-dependent memory and state access. Our brains form associations between environments and particular states of consciousness, making dedicated practice spaces powerful tools for accessing meditative and energetic states more readily. When you create a space specifically for your practice, you're not just arranging physical objects. You're establishing a neurological and energetic container that supports your work with the chakra system. While we may not have access to temples or sacred groves, we can apply these ancient principles to create effective practice spaces in our modern homes. Drawing from archaeological evidence and traditional wisdom, we can identify several key elements that were consistently present in ancient meditation and healing spaces. These elements transcend cultural specifics and represent universal principles for creating effective practice environments. The first element is cleanliness and order. Ancient temple protocols across civilizations emphasized purification of space before practice. This wasn't merely about physical cleanliness, but also energetic clearing. Archaeological evidence shows specialized tools for space cleansing found at sacred sites worldwide. The practice of cleaning your meditation space, both physically and energetically, creates an environment free from distractions and stagnant energy. The second element is boundary definition. Ancient sacred spaces were clearly demarcated from ordinary environments through physical markers, thresholds, or natural features. This demarcation creates a psychological and energetic container for practice. Even a small defined area within a larger room can serve this purpose in your home. The third element is symbolic representation. Ancient practice spaces contained symbols that evoked specific energies or states of consciousness. From Egyptian ankhs to Vedic yantras, from Chinese bagua symbols to indigenous medicine wheels, these representations served as focal points that activated corresponding energies within practitioners. Including meaningful symbols related to your chakra practice can enhance your space. The fourth element is elemental presence. Ancient traditions incorporated representations of natural elements into sacred spaces. Water for purification, fire for transformation, plants for life force, stones for stability, and open air for expanded awareness. These elements weren't merely decorative but served to balance and enhance the energetic environment. The fifth element is sensory support. Ancient practice spaces engaged multiple senses to facilitate shifts in consciousness. Archaeological evidence shows acoustic design in meditation chambers, aromatic resins and herbs in ceremonial spaces, and specific visual elements placed to draw awareness inward. Considering how your space engages all senses creates a more immersive and effective environment. The sixth element is energetic alignment. Ancient temples and practice spaces were often oriented to specific directions, with east, sunrise, and north, pole star, being particularly significant in many traditions. While modern homes may not allow for perfect directional alignment, awareness of orientation can inform how you set up your space. The seventh element is personal resonance. Within traditional frameworks, ancient practitioners would include elements that held personal meaning and power. Archaeological evidence shows personalized amulets, offerings, and objects of significance included in meditation spaces. Your practice space should resonate with your unique energy and intentions. These essential elements provide a framework for creating your meditation space, regardless of size, location, or resources. The ancient wisdom understood that it's not elaborate facilities, but thoughtful intention that creates effective sacred space. Now, let's explore practical ways to create your meditation space, adapting ancient principles to modern living situations. The ancient practitioners were remarkably adaptable, creating sacred space in diverse circumstances, from temples to caves, from forests to modest dwellings. This adaptability offers wisdom for our modern context. First, assess your available space and resources. Sacred space doesn't require a dedicated room. Ancient traditions often utilized small alcoves, corners, or even portable altars that could be set up and taken down as needed. If you live in a small apartment, share your home with others, or frequently travel, consider a portable sacred space kit that can be easily set up and stored. For cleaning and clearing your space, begin with physical cleaning using natural products when possible. Ancient traditions used specific herbs and resins for energetic clearing, cedar, juniper, sage, and palo santo being among the most common. If smoke isn't possible in your environment, essential oils, sound using bells, chimes, or singing bowls, or visualization techniques can accomplish similar clearing. For defining boundaries, use what works in your living situation. A special rug or mat that designates your practice area. Fabric draped to create a separate space. A screen or room divider. A circle of stones or other objects. Even an imaginal boundary created through intention. For symbols and focal points, consider elements that represent the chakra system or specific energies you're working with. a simple diagram of the 7 chakras, colored items corresponding to each chakra, meaningful images that evoke the qualities you're cultivating, natural objects that hold significance for you. For elemental presence, incorporate what's practical for your space: a small bowl of water, a candle or electric tea light, plants or flowers, stones or crystals, fresh air or images of sky. For sensory engagement, consider all 5 senses: sound, background music, nature sounds, singing bowls or silence, smell, essential oils, natural incense or fresh flowers, sight, soft lighting, candles, meaningful imagery or minimalist space, touch, comfortable seating, appropriate temperature, supportive props, taste. While not always included, a sip of water or tea before practice can be part of your ritual. For energetic alignment, work with your space's natural orientation. If possible, face east, traditional direction for new beginnings, or north, direction of stability in many traditions. If fixed orientation isn't possible, use intention to align your practice with cosmic directions. For personal resonance, include elements that have meaning for you, objects from nature that you've collected, items gifted by significant people, representations of personal inspirations or aspirations. Journal for recording insights from your practice. Ancient wisdom understood that space creation is not a one-time event, but an ongoing relationship. Your space may evolve as your practice deepens. Some traditions recommend refreshing sacred space with the seasons or during significant transitions. Listen to your intuition about when your space needs renewal or reconfiguration. Remember that the most powerful element in space creation is your intention. Archaeological evidence suggests that even in elaborate temple complexes, practitioners would begin with setting clear intention for the space. This intentional designation transforms ordinary space into sacred space more effectively than any physical arrangement. Beyond physical space, ancient wisdom traditions paid careful attention to timing and atmosphere for practice, creating what we might call the temporal dimension of sacred space. Archaeological and textual evidence reveals sophisticated understanding of how different times and atmospheric conditions support various practices. Ancient Egyptian, Vedic, Mayan, and Chinese traditions all recognized specific times of day as particularly powerful for meditation and energy work. The transition periods dawn, midday, dusk, and midnight were considered especially potent, with dawn sunrise being most emphasized for chakra practices in many traditions. These transitional times were understood to offer thinner boundaries between ordinary and expanded awareness. If possible, establish a consistent time for your chakra practice. Ancient wisdom recognized that consistency creates both neurological patterns and energetic resonance that deepen with repetition. Temple inscriptions often reference specific timing cycles for practices, suggesting these weren't arbitrary, but based on observed effects. Consider atmospheric conditions as well. Ancient traditions noted the influence of lunar cycles, seasonal shifts, and weather patterns on subtle energy. Full moon periods were often utilized for practices involving expansion and illumination, while new moon periods supported introspection and seed planting intentions. While we won't align our entire chakra series with lunar cycles, being aware of these natural rhythms can inform your personal practice timing. The ancient understanding of biorhythms has been validated by modern chronobiology, which confirms that our physiological and neurological states shift throughout the day in predictable patterns. Morning practice typically benefits from naturally elevated cortisol that supports alertness, while evening practice can utilize the body's natural melatonin production that supports inner vision. If life circumstances don't allow for practice at optimal times, ancient wisdom offers an alternative approach: creating a consistent entry ritual that signals to your body and energy system that it's time for practice, regardless of the clock time. Temple carvings show specific entry sequences that practitioners would use to prepare themselves for sacred space. Develop your own simple entry ritual, perhaps lighting a candle, sounding a bell, taking 3 conscious breaths, or speaking a specific phrase that helps you transition from ordinary activity to your practice state. This ritual becomes a portable aspect of sacred space that you can use anywhere, anytime. Many of us live in shared environments where dedicated, permanent space for practice may not be possible. Ancient wisdom offers guidance here as well. Archaeological evidence shows that many sacred spaces were multifunctional, temporarily transformed for specific practices, and then returned to ordinary use. If you share your living space with others, consider these approaches. Negotiate specific times when you can use a shared area for your practice. Create clear agreements about respect for your practice time and space. Develop a simple setup and breakdown routine for temporary sacred space. Invite household members to respect your practice time by minimizing noise and interruptions. Consider sharing your practice intentions with housemates to foster understanding. For those who travel frequently, ancient traditions offer the model of the traveling practitioner who carried essential sacred space elements in a small bundle or pouch. Creating your portable practice kit might include a special cloth to define your practice area, small symbolic objects for each chakra, a travel-sized sound instrument, essential oil or spritzer for space clearing, battery-operated candle for fire element, journal for recording your practice experiences. The ancient wisdom reminds us that while environment certainly influences practice, the most sacred space ultimately exists within us. Temple inscriptions often reference the temple of the body or the inner sanctuary, suggesting that external sacred space serves to activate and reflect our inner sacred dimensions. With regular practice, you'll develop the capacity to enter your meditative state in diverse environments. Think of your physical sacred space as training wheels that eventually allow you to access sacred space consciousness wherever you are. As you prepare to create your meditation space for our upcoming chakra activation series, I'd like to offer a series of affirmations that connect space creation with your inner journey. These statements help align your physical space with your energetic intentions. Allow these affirmations to resonate within you. My practice environment supports my journey of energetic awakening and balance. I transform ordinary space into sacred space through my conscious intention. The elements in my meditation area amplify and support my chakra activation work. I honor ancient wisdom by creating space that aligns with universal principles. My sacred space evolves alongside my practice, reflecting my growing awareness. I establish clear, energetic boundaries that support focused meditation and energy work. Each time I enter my practice space, I reconnect with my intentions for transformation. I express gratitude for the space available to me, regardless of its size or permanence. My physical environment and my subtle energy system communicate and harmonize during practice. I am ancient atoms awakened. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of preparing your space for meditation. In our next video, we'll discuss how to get the most from the Chakra Activation series, preparing you to begin our journey through the 7 centers. Ancient Atoms Awakened, where ancient wisdom meets modern awakening.